And welcome, Moose family, to a very, 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 I can't say very enough, special edition of, I believe this is the FlanFan show, so we're going to go with that. Coming in live for the first time from my Chicago bungalow, it is none other than me. It's X Daily. With me, as always, happy to be back on with this guy, Mr. Jim Flanagan. Jim, how are you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, Daily? On this great Wednesday, it's a wicked Wednesday. It's playoff hockey here, the Moose Hockey Road. You know, can't get any better than this.
Yes, and my first time working with this man. I love his work, though. I'm a big fan of this guy's work, and he always just seems to get me a little giggly and a little bit squirrely inside. It's none other than Jason Blaze. Jason, how you doing today, buddy?
Well, aside from the really good blowjob you just gave me there, I'm doing fine. We got some serious business. Enough about me. Let's get down to it.
All right. Well, today we got, as Jim said, we got playoff hockey on the bump today. Super exciting. All the series are done going into the second round. I think the semis start tonight, or I guess you would call it the conference finals then. I believe those start tonight. So we're going to do MHL and MHL. We're going to start with the MHL. I know Jason Blaze has got his stuff prepared. So, Jason, you just want to hop right into the MHL?
Yeah, sure. First off, before we get to the schedule there, congrats to all the captains that made it. Wanted to say it's been a long road. It is what it is. Congrats to the captains that made it even further past the quarterfinals. But it looks like it's come down to the top four here. And it's going to be Lambda taking on the Raging Fornicators there. It's going to be an interesting series, two top teams here, alongside of Walk of Shame taking on Dharma Initiative. We got Lowen, which is one of our fellow co-hosts, not on tonight, but he usually is, taking on Joe Stowe's team. You can't really say so much about these teams. They're all four of them are pretty dominant, and they're ready to go. What do you guys do? What do you guys think? Do you guys think Lambda's going to take Fornicators, or do you guys think Walk of Shame's going to take Dharma? Either or, which one?
Well, I'll chime in here. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you boys. As far as my MHL knowledge, it's not quite there, and I apologize for that. But I will say I'm looking at Lambda's roster right now, and I'm seeing some names that are catching my attention. First of all, Upshaw for MVP. Like I said, I don't know who's playing, who's starting and whatnot. But when I see this lineup, I see Upshaw, I see Funbags, and I see Buckeye Dude. I think that those are three real underappreciated players in the league. And when I'm sitting here and I'm looking at that roster, I don't quite know who the defensemen are. Maybe it looks like Jets Killer, Darkstorm, who I heard is pretty solid as well. This team looks like it could be a team to beat. So for me, I really like the outlook. I know that Buckeye Dude had a really good series last series. I think he had 10 goals, 10 assists. That's pretty impressive. So I like what I see there. But I'm going to go with Lambda here.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I look at this series. It's going to be a tight series here. I mean, you have the Raging Fornicators led there by Cloudy Days. These guys finished off the season, best record-wise in the AHL here. They're taking on a Lambda team. Now, prior weeks, I talked about, these teams in the playoffs here, and for the Raging Fornicators, it's a very young club out there, very young guys. Cloudy picked up a lot of new players, first time here in the Moose, and they had a tough time against the two-line tweakers. I mean, this thing went to 6 games, man, and a lot of the games were close on there, almost an upset in round one there, but they did manage to get past that round one. And then you take a look at this Lambda team, man. I mean, they came and they embarrassed Damage Inc. round one. I mean, these guys came in there, swept Damage Inc. I thought the series was going to be a lot closer than what it was. And just the way Lambda's playing, you mentioned those 3 forwards, Upshaw, Buckeye, Captain Funbags, a lot of experience, a lot of great talent on there. And Buckeye Dude right now is hot, man. I mean, this guy, 20 points in just those 4 games. This is going to be interesting, man. I think Lambda, Captain Funbags won the Antler Cup last season. He's looking to do it again here, this time as captain, and he's close, man. He's one series away from going back to the finals.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the other series there, Dharma taking on oh shit, I forgot their name already. But anyways, Dharma taking on another solid team. Walk of Shame. My bad, went there. My mind went blank. That just happens sometimes here. But neither team had a walk in the park getting to the second round here. Dharma nearly getting upsetted by New Sun Ice there, and Walk of Shame just annihilating Miss McGill's Tea Party here. And one of my top 3 forwards there is actually a Miss McGill's Tea Party. So that series by far must have been the most exciting, to be honest. Guys, you guys got any comments about this series?
Like I said, I don't know enough. I was still looking at the Lambda Raging Fornicators one, so I'm going to apologize. But I just noticed something. I don't want to get sidetracked, but it is something that I tend to do. Did the Raging Fornicators really have a 96.2 penalty kill percentage? Is that a real stat, or did someone mess that up?
Ooh.
Because that's absolutely unreal. Like, that's disgusting if that's the case. I don't think I've ever seen something quite like that. Wow, I'm kind of still in shock after seeing that. Sorry, I didn't mean to get sidetracked. But yeah, that's absolutely unreal. I'm going to pass it to Jim so I can look at the stats so I can give some insight. So, Jim, what do you think?
I mean, this series here, Dharma Initiative taking on Walk of Shame here in the semifinals. I mean, I've been a fan of Dharma Initiative all season long, man. What Joe Stowe put together here. I know they had a close call, man. That first series there against Noosa Mice. Noosa Mice, wasn't a team to sleep on, and almost got upset. But I think, they escaped there. They got past that round one. Now they take on Walk of Shame, and I think Dharma, advances to the finals here. Like I said, I love this team, man. I love what they've done all season long. Walk of Shame, came in there, beat up Miss McGill's Tea Party, but it's not going to be so easy here against Dharma. I just think Dharma, again, a team that has a lot of great veterans on here, just like the Lambda team. You look at Joe Stowe's roster, you got Joe Stowe himself, NHL Kid, Hollywood Bob, Joe 9692, even John 18B on there, Blue Bomber. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have been around, playoff hockey here, and I think, escaping that first round was a close call, but I think Dharma finds a way to win.
Yeah, and now looking at it a little bit further, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna go with Low End's team, and the reason being is I'm looking at the stats, and I see this. I just 4.7 goals a game during the regular season, scoring almost 5 goals again. That's good for first. Now Joe Stowe's team is right behind at 4.6, which is third in the league. So it seems like this one's going to be a bit of a shootout. You got two really, really, really high-scoring teams going at it to make it to the Antler Cup. So I mean, this is a big series in itself. Obviously, derp. But with that being said, I'm a man of special teams. I love the power play and I love the PK. It's something that I really, I think that the team that usually generates, first of all, face-offs. I know people are going to disagree with me, but I feel a team that wins face-off is a team that controls the puck and is a team that can make things happen. And I think that these things are a big indicator of that and have a lot to do with it. Low End's team, their power play percentage was 37.5, which is pretty good, but it was only good for 6th in the MAHL. But still a very high percentage nonetheless, with a 76.8 penalty kill percentage, which was good for third behind Lambda, and the Fornicators. So, again, those are numbers that I like to look at, and I feel that if it came down to these tight games when these special teams are definitely thrown in the mix where they mean, that one penalty late in the game in a 2-2 game, and you got that, that high-flying power play, I mean, that's what's going to change the game. But on the flip, you look at Joe Stowe, 40.8% power play, which is also very good. That was good for third in the MAHL. The penalty kill right there with Low End's team at 74.4, so that was good for fifth. Both teams fairly even, but man. You know what? I'm changing my mind. I'm going with Joe. So that's the thing. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it. I'm analyzing the numbers. I'm breaking it down. And you know what? I know it's only 3%, but that 3% could be 1 or 2 goals. I'm gonna go with Josto's team in this one. The Dharma Initiative. I definitely messed that up. But I'm gonna go with them in this on the power play. I say that this one, just based on scoring alone, I think this one's going 7 games, and I'm gonna take Dharma in 7. Sorry, Lowen, I had to change it up on you.
Well, me, I think I'm going to go with Walk of Shame. I've played both teams there. I know the difference. Stats doesn't tell you all of the story. It only tells you part of the story here. Based off of experience, I'm going Walk of Shame. Even though I've been a fan of Dharma, I think Walk of Shame's just too dominant for them, and I think it's going to come down to maybe 6 games where Walk of Shame walks away with it.
You don't believe in? Did you just say you don't believe in stats, Jason? You and I are going to have to go around. We're going to have to go one round. Stats are everything. They tell a story, my friend.
Well, if you go by stats, then you'll see a huge upset later on in the show here. But before we get to the MHL, let me give you the top 3 players of the quarterfinals in the AHL here. Start off with the forwards. We got Buckeye Dude. He's got 4 games played, 10 goals, 10 assists, 20 points. Leads the AHL in playoffs right now with 20 points, plus 15, 30 shots, only 6 penalty minutes, 1 hit, 1 power play goal, and 2 game-winning goals. So this guy definitely finished the game for Lambda. Let's go with defense. Low-end theory. This is why I think his team's going to win the series here. He's got 2 goals, 10 assists in 5 games. He's got 12 points. He's got 8 shots, 4 penalty minutes, 5 hits, 1 power play goal, and 1 game-winning goal. I believe that goal is what ended the series for Miss McGill's. And the top goalie, TNP Darkstar from News on Mice. He had to have been. He has 480 minutes, 113 saves, or shots against, 95 saves, 18 goals allowed, 17 penalty minutes. This guy must love to fight. But he has an 84.1 save percentage with a 2.25 goals against average. You can't top that. He's the best of the quarterfinals. We'll see what happens in the semis. Back to you, Daly.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm not going to waste any time because, as you guys know, I always have a ton of info to drop down for the MHL. So I'm jumping right into the first series. Now, I know that you guys have talked about these series a bit. So I know I'm backtracking a bit. I know we know who won the series and everything like that, but I'm kind of a tail of the tape guy. I like to see the numbers. I like to look at what happened. So we're going to start out. I'm just going to jump right in the Western Conference. I got Serious Business Cats for Smoking That Herb. Just some series notes. Let's just first, I know I don't want to spend too much time on it, on the fail, but, you know, Fair stepping down, personal issues, understandable. It is what it is. I know behind-the-scenes stuff that went on. But mad shout-out to D-Mart, club mate of mine, good buddy, love playing with him. You know, stepping up, kind of taking control of this team. Him and, you know, Colleton kind of working together on that. So, I mean, that's huge, man. You know, you have this void that's left by your captain. And, you know, I know Fair had personal stuff, but the way I see it is you got 5 other guys who are counting on you. You got 5 other guys who are looking to play. You know, everybody's got full-time jobs and doing whatever. And sometimes it's a release to come home and be able to play that MHL series. You know, get those 3 games in before you go and do it all again tomorrow. And to see someone just leave their team out to dry like that, it's really sad. And, you know, you don't like to see something like that in your league. So, mad shout-out to D-Mark for kind of stepping up, taking on that role of captaincy. So I don't want to spend too much time on it, but those are the kind of players that we like to see in this league. That's what we like to see, those guys willing to step up and, you know, help the cause. So before we get into the actual stats and stuff, I mean, you know, Cam IM wasn't there for the first 3 games, and it seems that Smoking That Herb kind of handled the Serious Business Cats handedly. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, did Cam really have that much of an impact on how the offense worked and, you know, maybe the way that the team played? They have a great back end in, you know, Tyler Tons of Clay. They got JJ and Balcor, who's arguably the best D pair in the Moose this season as far as, you know, just raw talent. So having Cam obviously offensively is going to hurt, but I saw this going a little bit different on the back end as far as the goals that were being scored and stuff like that. But then on the flip, you got Frosty and D-Mart, two great wingers in this league with a good two-way centerman and Dicko playing in the middle there. Jason Blaze, Colleton on D. From what I've heard, Jay Blaze, you're quite the D-man. And that's just what I heard. I'm not going to blow you again because I don't think that you need to be, hummed that much in one show. But, this to me, I didn't think that Irbe was going to be able to do it just because of the back end of the Serious Business Cats. But I was proven wrong. And you know what? It's the Moose, baby. Anything can happen. So the first 3 games, like I said, handed by Smoking That Herb. A couple scares there. They lost the next 2, but they were able to pull it out. So, like I said, I'm a man of I like the special teams, the power plays, the penalty kills. So I'm going to break down the series stats for power play, PK, and time on attack, which I think are 3 really important stats in any NHL game or series or whatever. So the power play percentage for Serious Business Cats, there was only 4 power plays for them. So what this tells me is that there was a lot of discipline on the side of Smoking That Herb. They were, however, 3 of 4 on the power play. So good job by Herb, Smoking That Herb or Herbe, whatever the hell, not taking a ton of penalties. However, their penalty kill kind of scares me a little bit down the road here if they get into some penalty trouble. Jason, I mean, you were in the series. What did you guys do to stay out of the box? What did you guys do as a team?
Well, usually there's not really much you can do. You just play your game there. The game usually decides what the momentum swings and whatnot there. We had clean sticks, and we played the body well there. If you look at Colleton there, he's probably got a whole ton load of hits, legal, if I may add. But, it was majority of the forwards that got the penalties there. I think I got 1. Besides that, the forwards, they play clean, and we had a lot of possession with the puck. So that really helped in our efforts of not taking penalties against this team, and it worked out for us.
And, it's funny that you said that because I look at the season. On the season, Smoking That Herbe, they averaged about 6:37 time on attack throughout the course of the year. So, 6:37, that's a pretty good amount of time to hold. Usually between 6 to 8 minutes is where you want to be if you're a puck possession team. But in this series, in these 6 games, they were at 7 minutes and 10 seconds. So you see a big increase. It's a little under a minute. But if you look at it, that's another minute that the other team that you're playing doesn't have the puck. On the flip of that, Serious Business Cats, on the season, they averaged holding the puck about 8 minutes and 20 seconds, which was pretty high. Actually, I don't think that's right. But either way, I know that they were top 5 in the Moose in time on attack, which is like I said, time of possession. If you have the puck, the other team doesn't. So if you can hold the puck, you can cycle the puck and make them chase. That's a huge part of the game. So when I see that, the Cats, they were at 7-11, which I know was much lower than what they had averaged during the course of the regular season. So, you kind of touched on it, Jay. Herbe did a really, really good job of keeping the puck away from the Cats, and, it showed with being able to take this series in 6. Now, if Cam's there all 3 games, this could be a different series. It just shows what one player, what effect that they can have on a series. You possibly take a Frosty Nightmare off this team, are you guys still winning those first 3 games? If you take D-Mart off this team and he's missing, do you still win these first 3 games? So there's a lot of different variables that come into play in these series. What do you think, Jim? Do you think that the time on attack is maybe an overlooked stat?
Well, time attack, especially in a series like this series had a lot of scoring, man. Both teams putting up a lot of points. You mentioned the thing without Cam, Cam coming in there until Game 4 there. They got the 2 wins, but then they lost Game 6. Cam I.M. only played 3 games here. He had 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points in this series. But another factor to look at here, I know they were without Cam. You mentioned the thing Herbe without their former captain on there. They had to regroup there. But A big part was game number 1, man. Game 1 going to overtime, and you take a look at this Smoking Herbe team without they had Jason Blaze on defense, who's usually a goaltender in the AHL. And then also they were without Collie, man. Fallen Warrior stepped in on D, and somehow they managed to win that in overtime. Frosty Nightmare came out big. You mentioned, Frosty Nightmare being a big part of the offense. He was, man. 22 points in this series, 12 goals, 10 assists. You had D Mart on there, 7 goals, 12 assists, 19 points. And they got this big series win here, man. Even in the regular season, Smoking That Herbe beat the Serious Business Cats. This was a big trap game here for the Cats, and I'm kind of shocked here, man. They're out already here, first round. Beginning of the season, man, I thought this was a team that was to be reckoned with here, and Smoking That Herbe, man. I mean, Jason Blaze, maybe it's a good luck charm or something, man. It was a fun series to watch, too, man. If you guys didn't check this out, Carlton doing a great job streaming, I think 5 out of those 6 games, and you also had the 2 brothers in net there. It's just tremendous series there, and great win for Herbe to move on there, Daly.
Yeah, definitely. Holly, do you want to throw the call line out just so the guys know in case anybody wants to call in and chime in?
Yeah, we got Jason Blaze there on the switchboard. You guys want to call in? Number here is 646-381-4907. Or if you got Skype, just connect through Skype there. Phone line's always open, man.
Yeah. All right, well, hey, like I said, we got a lot going on. I'm going to jump right into the next series. Chronically Arthritic Fappers, which to this day, Duke still has not told me what the hell that means. So, you know what, I give up. It was me, all the things, whatever. He just makes up random names and doesn't say anything. And then we have Les Tabernacks, led by Sobi our Fears. Series notes here, I mean, they were all pretty close games. The first game, and I believe it was the third game, were separated by 3 goals each end, 1 win for Fappers, the other for Tabernacks. Every other game was decided by 1 or 2 goals. I heard the other day, Jason, you were talking about, top offenses, top defenses. Well, both of these teams ranked 1-2 in defense as far as goals against and time on defense, with the Fappers being ahead in both of those categories. So looking at it going in, being a part of the series, I knew that it was going to be a defensive series, with both goaltenders being solid and all the players on the ice, not just the D-men, but the forwards as well, are all great defensive players. So you could come to expect that. Fappers lineup, you had Duke, Sacred Silence in the middle, TJ Burns, you had Agent J over on the wing, Chunky and myself on defense with Sir Snipe-A-Lot in net. And for the Tabernacks, you had NJ Ski, Cool Fumble, Big Nasty Rick over on left wing. BC Soft. I think it's Sobi Fears, or not Fears, Sobi Motions, but he changed his tag to Dynastic or something. And obviously Fears and net. Just going again, like I said, I love the special teams. Fappers were 0 for 7 on the power play in this series. Now, moving forward and getting into these games, I know I touched on it earlier, that has to improve. I mean, you cannot be, when you get those chances, when you're taking a guy off the ice, especially because I think we got NJ Ski off the ice 3 or 4 times, who is a great penalty killer. He's very good at it. He backchecks well. He keeps you in front of you. He attacks you. We were able to get him off 3 or 4 times, but we were not able to capitalize with his teammates picking him up. And the power play for Tabernacks, 2 of 6. Again, once you get to the playoffs, you see less and less and less penalties in these games. Everybody's playing a little bit more cautious. Everybody's trying to, stay on their feet, not make that dumb play, because you know that at any point the whole game could get just absolutely warped by a stupid penalty or flipping it over the glass or whatever it may be. So both teams with only 13 penalty minutes or 13 penalties in 5 games. I mean, that's a fairly, it's a fairly low number, to say the least. Moving to the time on attack, Fappers averaged about 7 minutes, 7 seconds on attack, where Tabernacks was only able to muster up about 4 minutes and 4 seconds. That's 3 minutes different. We had talked earlier about the time on attack and how, how crucial it is that, you have points, you have the puck and the other team doesn't. I mean, there's nothing that they can do. And the low goal total in this series, there was 20 goals scored in 5 games. So when you're looking at that and you're thinking to yourself, like, 20 goals, it's about 4 goals a game. I mean, it's really not that much considering Moose standards. So, I mean, it was a good defensive play all around. We have some of the best back checkers on our Fappers team. Duke, to say the least. Agent J is probably one of the better forward checkers that I've ever seen. He's really good at putting pressure on the puck and making you make that dumb play. So shout out to Jay. I don't want to turn this into a Fappers blowing. But Holly, I'm not going to ask Jason or myself because we're both in the series. What do you think about this upcoming series between Fappers and Urbe? Who do you give the advantage to and why?
Oh man, we go from a series where there was a lot of scoring, man, a lot of shots here to this series here between Tabernacle and Fappers, keeping the shots low, time attack. This is gonna be tight, man. I mean, you got a great defense, and then you got a team who's got a great offense, man. I mean, Frosty, DeMar, up front there for smoking that Urbe. But Deli, I'm always a fan of defense, man. I think defense wins you championships, and that's why I like the Fappers, man. I like the Fappers. I liked what they did round one here against the Tabernacles, and I think if they play that style and shut down this offense, smoking that Urbe is going to be in trouble, man. You mentioned the power plays, capitalizing on power plays. I think, just in this series, man, between the Tabernacles and Fappers, both teams, it's hard to get offense rolling here. And, I think it'll be a much different game going up against smoking that herb. And if the Fappers keep it low, keep these shots like they did against the Tabernacles, they got a great shot here, man. Smoking Urbe's, won a big shootout there against the Serious Business Cats, but I just feel the Fappers got a lot better, solid team as far as defense-wise. Sir Sniperlaw is playing great in that as well. I think the Cinderella story ends here for Jason Blaze and the Smoking Urbe.
Yeah, and it was a tough go for those guys. Like I said, losing fair. Jason, what do you think it's gonna? What do you think it's gonna take for your team to win? What do you guys need to do to get back or get advanced to the Moose Cup Finals?
I already think we have a solid team here. We just need to play a little bit more together. As it stands, our team played collectively, including the new piece, which is myself. We've only played 6 games coming into the playoffs there. We don't play outside of the Moose here. So that gives us a severe disadvantage. But considering we still mesh together pretty well, me and Colley's got pretty good chemistry going on there. The forward lines obviously have chemistry. We wouldn't have been so far if they didn't. Also, they're good back checkers. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I think both teams have outstanding chances here. And, I'm just taking it one game at a time here. I went from a AHL to a why the hell am I up here and why am I playing MHL? So my perspective, I'm just taking it a game at a time, and I think so is our team.
And like I said, I mean, I don't really want to comment too much on the series, but I definitely think it's gonna be a deep series. There's a lot of good players in this series, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. So good luck to you, Blaze, and come tomorrow. We are enemies, sir. We are enemies.
Lily, I want to add on there. I know during the regular season, it was a tight series, man. Well, that was back in December 11th. Smoking that Urbe actually won the series there against the Fappers. Not many teams beat the Fappers in the regular season. They did, played a couple overtime games. But now it's a different team, man. It's a different Smoking that Urbe, and it's also we're in January here, so end of January, so.
And you got to look at it too. I mean, that that Urbe team that we played had Fair. It didn't have Frosty Nightmare. It didn't have Jason Blaze. So if you really think about it, Urbe might have the advantage here because the Fappers are going against a couple guys that they haven't seen this year. I know I'm going to have my hands full with Frosty Nightmare over on that right side of the ice, left wing for him, right side for me. And I didn't play against him this year, and I don't think I played against him in a couple of years, at least not as a defenseman. So it's going to be interesting to see, what happens. But I think that you got to give Urbe, putting all bias aside, a little bit of an advantage because They got a lot of new players, and they got a lot of new looks. Last time we played them, Fair was in net. Now they have a new goalie. So, there's different variables that come into play, and, so Urbe definitely has the advantage in that aspect, but it's going to be how the Fappers crew can adjust and, make the plays that need to be made in order to get past these guys. So it's going to be a great series, so tune in. I'm sure Kali will be streaming it, so you guys will get to watch it and see what it's all about. But that'll definitely be a good series to tune into, folks.
Definitely.
So, yeah, we're gonna jump in. I mean, we've been pumping 30 minutes here. Like I said, I lose track of time, man.
Daly, I just want to give a shout out. I know a lot of time when I got eliminated there, but I want to give a shout out to Sobi IR Fierce, man. First time captain in the MHL. I thought he did a tremendous thing here with the Let's Habernocks. Now, I've seen some tremendous goaltenders in this league, but this guy, Sobi IR Fierce, this season, and even in the playoffs here, man, I mean, the guy played with a lot of heart, and there's a lot of games where you got to tap your hat off to Sobi IR Fierce because he basically won the games for the Tabernacles, kept the series close there. I mean, the guy, you look at this series here that you guys played against the Fappers, I mean, they were getting outshot. I know Game 2 was like 4-16, wasn't getting much offensive production, but Sobi IR Fierce was still stopping pucks, man. This guy had a 84.4 save percentage on 5 games where he lost 4 of those games. You know what I mean? 5 games played, only 1 win. But I think Sobi IR Fierce did a great job here as captain, even though eliminated here round number 1.
I agree. I mean, if you look at the standards of what NHL 12, goalies do get a really bad rap in the way that the game plays. I mean, you might only face 10 shots a game, and if you let up 2 goals, you're at about an 80%. So I would say the norm for what are considered to be elite goalies are right around 80-81% net. So when you see a guy who's got almost 4 percentile points higher than that, I mean, that's definitely something to tip your hat to. And I'm going to tell you right now, in that first game when we played them, he was unreal in the 4-1 loss. And even if you look past minus the 5-2 game that we won, every game was decided by 1 goal. So you're definitely spot on with that analysis that he was a big reason as to why those games weren't much higher scoring in favor of the Fappers, because he was unreal.
Yeah, even that 5-2 loss, that one heading into the third period, it was a 2-1 game. So, All right, man. Enough about Sobi IR Fierce.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Let me 65 saves also in that series. Go ahead.
Oh my. All right, so we're gonna hop in. We're gonna move over to the other conference here. We got the gratuitous amounts of energy versus moves like Jagger, and this is an interesting stat because you have another elite goaltender in this series, but there's only 15 goals scored in this series. And I think that there's a couple reasons for that. One, you look at the goaltending. I mean, Soup is arguably the best goalie in the Moose, hands down. Gotten the privilege of playing with this guy. Not only is he a good guy with a good attitude, but I mean he's a great goaltender. And on the flip for moves like Jagger, they had Flexible Pancake, arguably a top 5 goalie as well in this league. And when you have a goalie clash like that, you can expect that it's going to be a low scoring game. Or a low-scoring series for that matter. So tip my hat to both those goalies. Another factor that I have played into this is I'm looking at both rosters as far as offensive output. Ever since Jay-Z made the trade at the deadline, I think that his defense back end is, again, one of the tops in the league. You got Ice Cream Truck, all juiced up, and Soup. I've played with Ice Cream Truck. Very, very solid defensively. I got to play with Juice for the first time in that All-Star game. He's also, I was very impressed with the way that he plays. I like his style. So, again, I know what both of those defensemen are capable of. Now, the big question mark to me is the forward line. You have Jay-Z, who's, a top 2 pick every single season. He's definitely one of the top forwards in this league. But playing with him, he's got Wade, who's had some success in the Moose. I think that he has what it takes to be a top forward in the league. I just don't think that he's found it yet or found, that right role yet. But playing with Jay-Z, him and Jay-Z have seemed to have some pretty good chemistry together. They were rocking Bakemba for a while, but I just it wasn't working out. So to see the change and see Blanco up or called up or traded for, I like that move for Jay-Z. It seems that these guys have some pretty good chemistry. But again, they struggled in this series scoring goals, so it'll be interesting to see if they struggle in the next series scoring goals as well. But again, when you have a guy like Soup, I've always said this, and anybody who knows me will attest, if you have superstar in your team, you will make the playoffs. He's that good. So with that being said, it's no surprise to see these guys sitting here in the conference finals. But again, I got to tip my hat to these guys. Over on the other side, you got Cuddy, who I had the privilege of playing with last year. He's a great defenseman, very good at moving the puck. And EWTU Eric, who to me has been playing some of the best hockey that I've seen him play defensively since I've joined the league. His game, Eric's game, as a player has evolved to a new level. He went from being kind of that big, rough and tough, that hit guy to he's just so dynamic. He can do so many things to frustrate you. He's good with the pokes now. His stick lifting is unreal now, and his ability to move the puck. He's not always looking for that stretch pass. There's a little more trust in his forwards, and he's been unreal over the last course of this season. I mean, his game has just evolved. So again, to see, Truck, Juice, and Soup on the one end, you got Eric, Cuddy, and Pancake on the other, and their defense is just as solid and goaltending. So I'm not surprised to see 15 goals only in this series. But again, Scotty Main, Ed the Pimp, and Slightly Lit up front. It doesn't surprise me that the goals weren't there. And like Ed's a good buddy of mine. I love Ed the Pimp, great guy, great teammate. But again, the offense, that line, I kind of questioned it. So again, I'm not surprised to see the sweep here, just on a lack of scoring. Tails of the tape. Again, I mean, you look at it, the gratuitous amounts of energy. They were 2-9 on the power play. Still fairly good, better than most other teams that were in the postseason at 22%. Their PK was only 50%. Again, they only took 4 penalties, though. So had they taken more, it seems like that's where they're susceptible to. So moving forward, if you can get power plays against this team, you can definitely score. But again, shout out here to Yager's team, or Moves Like Yager, killing 7 to 9 penalties. Definitely something that I'm pleased to see, because I'm a special teams guy. So again, usually when you win those special teams battles, you'll generally win the game or the series or whatever, but it didn't quite happen in this series, just because I think that there was no offense on the side of the Yager crew. I mean, moving forward, I'm going to ask you both, Flanny and Blaze. We'll start with you, Blaze. Do you think that this team, Jay-Z's team with Wade and Blanco and their back end, do you think they have what it takes to get through this next round and into the Moose Cup Finals?
Hell no. Simply stating, they're outmatched everywhere. Drift King's team, he has a solid forward lineup. 2 of the players are top 3 in scoring in the MHL. You don't get there for just sitting there and sucking ass. They actually score goals. They have a solid system, solid setup in their offensive zone. They give you a warning. They like to circle around the, dump it around the net there, stick a guy in the slot so he's literally butt-fucking your goalie. If you can't stop that, then you're pretty much toast, Jay-Z. You better have a really solid defense and solid goaltending core, or else you're done for.
What do you think, Flanny? Do you think Energy has what it takes to make it into the finals?
You know what, Daly? I've been in Moose Chat all week. I've been on the Inquirer emails back and forth, and a lot of guys are jumping on the on Jay-Z's bandwagon on here, and they're already saying, "Hey, Jay-Z, did you already sweep the next round, man?" But I differ here, Daly. I gotta go with Blaze too. I don't think Jay-Z can beat Drift King's team here, man. It's 2 guys that won the Cup last season. I think Drift King's got too much offensive power, even though Jay-Z has a great, solid defense, like you mentioned, solid goaltender, superstar, who only allowed 5 goals all series there against Yager. But they got to play never say never here. And, we didn't get into that series yet, but the way these guys played Timeless in round number 1, the way Drift King finished the season here, that offense, man, Lebunski, Stealth Luka, Drift King 99, I think Old Juice up, and ice cream truck's gonna have their hands full here. And even though with a great solid goaltender like superstar in that, I don't think they'll hang, man.
Yeah, and I mean those are all valid points. We're going to get into Drift Kings team here in just a minute as they swept the first round as well, which I mean I was a little surprised by. So you know what? Let's just jump right into it. And you know the theme of the East has been sweeps. I mean you see, you know it sucks to almost battle all season. You know you get into the playoffs, you're excited, you're feeling great, and then you get your ass kicked and you get swept. And I mean, you know the Yager series, all those games were close. But this one seemed to be open, you know, just wide open as Drift King's team just outscored Timeless's team by 2-1. I mean, there was 12 goals to 6 in favor of Drift's team. You guys touched on it. You got Drift, you got Luca, you got Bunskis. I mean, a great forward line, and all those guys are good at back checking as well. On the back end, you got Derek, NGR, and you got Uzner. Don't know too much about Uzner. I know Derek played for Disney on Ice last year, won a cup. So mad shout out to him. Excuse me, guys. And then you got Tackle Dummy Annette, who is definitely, I think he's overlooked sometimes as far as his goalie play. He's a brick wall back there, man. He's tough to score on. He's good at reading plays. He's good with his angles. You never really see a bad goal scored against Tackle Dummy. So Drift's got himself quite the team there. Now, I was a little confused on this. The forward line for the worst kind of people, I see Mello, I see Hatemaker, and I see Special Ed. These guys are great forwards, and I thought that they were going to be able to muster up a little bit more than 6 goals. They had McGilla and Timeless on defense. And was Meet the Assassin in net, or did he not play anymore? I had a question mark by him. Timeless, I'm not surprised, didn't do the stats, so I couldn't actually look. But, I mean, was Meet the Assassin in there?
I think he was, man. But I don't know if Mello played. I think Mello was a guy that might have been not in this series here, especially I think for the first 3 games there. So, but I think Meet the Assassin was in that, if I'm correctly on here. I mean, yeah, it would help if we got some stats on here, but unfortunately we don't. I don't know, Blaze, do you know anything about this series?
Yeah, before I get to that, Goofy wanted to have a shout-out. He says hi to you guys. Big fan. He's listening right now. He's Drift King's actually messaging me. Assassin was in all games there. Mello missed the first 3, and I think Hatemaker missed the 4th game here, which is why Shadow Demon was up. So it was Mello and Hatemaker that missed the series there, and I think that's what cost them their scoring edge.
And it could be. I mean, Haymaker is a very dynamic forward as far as what he can do. He's really, really good at driving the net. He's very, very skilled when it comes to that. So you throw Mello up there. I think Mello, to me, he's just a great two-way player. He's very good offensively. He's very good defensively, as he does know he plays defense. So he understands the aspect of, you know, being that two-way forward. Special Ed in his own, too, is great offensively and great at getting to the net. He's got that little toe drag move that he's kind of notorious for. So also very good at getting to the net there. I was a little surprised. I thought there'd be more of a fight here from Timeless's team, but you know, mad shout out to Drift. Luca and Bunskis are, you know, I love trolling those guys, so they're always fun guys too. So I'm sure their parties are really good and really relaxed, which, you know, in turn will make you play a little more relaxed, so you're not, you know, going crazy too much. But looking at the power play, 25%, 2 of 8 for Drift King's team. Again, that was the highest coming out of the first round for any team that advanced. So shout out to them. Again, their PK percentage, 100%. Average having the puck, 7:55, almost 8 minutes. Like I said, between 6 and 8 is kind of where you want to be. And they were flawless because Timeless's team 0 for 4 on the power play, 75% on the PK, fairly solid with 7 minutes 20 seconds on attack. I just looking at this, I guess you guys have both said Drift King for the next round. I'll say the big question mark here, and I probably shouldn't because Derek's won a cup, but I guess it would be this defense and how this defense will match up. Luca and Bunskis, great back checkers, great defensively. Luca's one of the top two-way centermen in the league. I know Bunskis a center as well, so he has that defensive mentality to him. that's a big question mark for me. But if you match that with the offensive concerns that I have for Jay Zamorski's team, I'm going to have to jump on the bandwagon with you guys. I'm going to take never say never in this series, but I'm going to say it goes to 6. So I'm going to take never say never in 6 in favor of Drift King's team. So we'll see how it plays out. But, I mean, it's going to be fun, man. I mean, this is the conference finals. There's 4 teams left. You started out with 12 this season. You're down to the last 4. I mean, this is exciting. This is what you play for. You play to win the game. No, I'm just kidding. But you play to get into the Moose Cup finals. I mean, that's what it is. And you're there. You're one series away from tasting it and being in that series. So, I mean, it's a good time and everybody's at their best now. So, I mean, this is it. I mean, I love it. I love the Moose and I love playoff hockey here, man. It's great.
It's gonna be great, man. It's gonna be great to see Jay Zamorski against Drift King 99 there, man. I think which captain steps up here in this series, man. So far, Drift King's done a phenomenal job in that first round in that playoffs there. Drift actually had 2 overtime winners there, man. Game 2 and Game 3, both going to overtime and beating Timeless's. Out to here, Jay-Z, he's definitely the top 4 there on his club, and then you got Drift King with Stealth Luca and the Bonskis, man. But it's gonna be interesting to see these guys, man. Jay-Z only had 8 points that series against Ed the Pimp there, man. So I think they're gonna need a lot more than that, man. I know they got a solid defense, man, but if this game goes into a high scoring fest, man, I see Drift King never say never taking it, man. Go ahead, Daly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, and that's what I got here. I mean, that's all I got for the stats. Like I said, today was kind of a feeler, so I haven't done it in a while. So again, Flanagan, thanks for letting me get on here today. I do miss the radio. It's always a good time.
I got an interesting stat from Drift King here. He says majority of players happening in the Drift King Zamorski series there. I believe he mentioned 4 names. Himself, Derek, Jay-Z, and Luca are undefeated in the playoffs for 2 consecutive playoffs. They won last season there. As you mentioned, they won the Cup last season, and now both teams are undefeated here. So whoever loses tonight is going to be the first time they lost in the playoffs in 2 consecutive playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
It's always a fun fact. See, I love fun facts. How can you not like that, Jason? How do you not enjoy that?
Oh, I didn't say I didn't enjoy it. I just said they don't tell you the whole story.
Okay, you know what? I can get down with that. Because they don't always tell you the whole story. I can absolutely get down with that. So, I'm bringing it back now. I haven't done this in a long time, and I apologize because usually I do, 3 nominees, and then I have my, my winner of the 3. But we're back to the Daily Dynamos. It's that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Planty jizzed his pants.
The Dynamos. It's one of my favorite ones to do. It actually, it gives me a chance to go and look through the games for that week, see who's performing, kind of give you that hot and cold. One guy could be a Dynamo one week and then fall off the next week, and I can't even find him. I can't even find him on my thing. He's nowhere to be found. But I did a dual forward line, or a dual forward here. The combination of Frosty Nightmare and DeMart is my forward dynamos of the return of the trial period of the Daily Dynamos. Frosty Nightmare, 12 goals, 10 assists, 22 points in 6 games. To average almost 4 points against another MHL's team in the playoffs is so impressive. I mean, that's a lot of points to get, and I believe that game went 6 games. But I mean, that's a ton of points to have in a 6-game span, averaging almost 4 a game. And then you got DeMart, who had 6 goals, 12 assists, 18 points. DeMart's one of the best setup men in the Moose. Another underappreciated player, but he's just really, really good at getting the puck to the open player, and they don't have to do a lot of work if he's on his game. I'll tell you that much, as playing a lot of club with this guy. So. Shout out to Frosty and DeMart, forward Dynamos, for the return thereof. Great job, and I'm definitely not looking forward to playing this wing pair as a defenseman in the next one. I can tell you guys that right now. All right, hold on one sec. Looks like we got a caller here. So, Jason, if you want to bring him on the air.
He's on. Go ahead.
What's up, caller?
Hey, this is Rocco. How you guys doing?
What up, Rocco?
Wanted to call in. I told Holly I would call in earlier. I didn't even realize what time it was. I'm driving right now, so I haven't listened to the show. I hope everything's going well there.
Oh, it's going. We're just breaking down. We did MAHL a little bit earlier in the show, and we're kind of cranking out the MHL right now. While we got you on, I mean, let's see what you think. Who do you think's going to win? Do you think that Duke and his boys from the Fappers are going to be able to take out Smoking That Herb?
I absolutely do. I'm one of your call-up players. I played with you guys several times. You guys are absolutely friggin' beasts. I love playing you guys. I don't mean to wish any bad luck on you guys, but I wouldn't exactly be upset if one of you guys could make it and I had to step in for you guys because I absolutely love playing with you guys.
Well, I guess that's is that what you would consider a backhanded compliment? Kind of like that slap in the face, like hope you get sick, but
I don't think it's backhanded at all. I'm saying I hope that doesn't happen, but should it happen, I'm not going to be upset about it because I have a blast playing with you guys. It's a lot of fun.
Well, he knows he's always on the watch because T.J. Burns is notorious for showing up 3 minutes before. So Rocco's always on watch for us. We got him ready to go at all times.
Yep, well, I get that message from Duke.
Yeah, well, you know
every
it.
time.
And, moving over to the other, you got Jay-Z versus Drift King in a battle of former teammates from last year. Who do you like in this one?
I tell you what, I played with Drift King a lot. I played with Jay-Z here and there. It's going to be a tough series. I think it's going to be pretty much a toss-up. This one's going to be 6 or 7 games, but I don't know. I kind of like Drift King. I think they might squeak this one out.
Yeah, and that seems to be the consensus here on this panel. It seems like we all like Drift King taking that series down. So, but Rocco, man, it's good hearing from you. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it, man. And drive safe. Don't get in any accidents in case we need you.
Well, I actually just pulled up to the house, so you don't got to worry about that anymore. I'm safe.
Right.
It's okay, everybody. I know everybody just wants to hear that.
Damn.
All right, thanks for calling in, Rocco. Appreciate it, man.
No problem. You guys have a good show there.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah.
That was Rocco, 33. Good guy, man. Good guy. Just a good dude. Moving on.
He helps me with the top 10 voiceovers there, man. So they're doing a great job. Man.
I love the top 10. Although we need some more X Daily highlights on there. I'm just saying. I don't think there's enough. You can't get them really on defense, right? They're just not quite there. So it is what it is. Maybe a forward switch for next year. You think that'll do it? I don't know. We'll see what happens. But moving on to my defenseman. Now, this
on your Dynamos on there. You mentioned Frosty Nightmare and D Mart. I just wanted to add something on there on Frosty Nightmare. You know what this guy reminds me? Remember that season where Goofy J had like 1,000 shots, man, with like 500 goals, man. Frosty Nightmare, 213 shots. On goal here this season. In the playoffs there, I think he had like 33 shots, man. So, he definitely puts up a lot of shots, man. Got a lot of goals, too, along with it, man.
Are you just trying to mess with me right now? Because I got to go against him, right? You're trying to mess with me. Is that what this is?
I think maybe if we cut him down to like 15 shots, man, a game, maybe you guys win, man.
Yeah, maybe I can try my best to do that. Great. You know what? Flanny and I got me all rattled. Now I'm rattled. You hear that, Jason? I'm rattled. So, but all right. Well, we only got a couple minutes left, so I'm going to jump through the D-men here. I had 2 D-men, and I'm going to give a shout out to this guy just because he did have the most points in the playoffs for defensemen. That's JJDM, captain of the Serious Business Cats. In 6 games, he had a goal, 7 assists. 8 points. The -6 though, and not advancing is what kept him from being that top dynamo. So I got to give it to my boy, my D partner, my clubmate, Colleton, or as you like to call him, Collation. 5 games played for him. Like you said, he missed 1. 2 goals, 3 assists, +5. Jason Blaze, you got to be a big part of that because I know how much a D partner can factor into his partner success. So shout out to Collie, shout out to Jason Blaze, and shout out to JJDM. And then for my goal dynamo, I mean, this one was easy. I didn't even have to go very far, and I feel like I say his name a lot. But Superstar, not 500 anymore. It's LL Superstar LL. I love the new look, new and improved, baby, new and improved. In 4 games, obviously they swept the series. He faced 49 shots, made 44 saves, 5 goals against in the whole series, 1.25 goals against average, 90 save percentage. And I said earlier, like league standards. I mean, if you see a guy with 82, Sobey with 85, we're like, dude, that's sick. 90%. He was saving 9 out of 10 shots. That is disgusting. Superstar, you are the goalie dynamo, and well deserving of that. Oh my goodness. You know what? It's already been an hour, and I feel like it's been like 10 minutes. Like I really do. It's just like the crank out and just the stats and.
I wish you could do this at work, man. Maybe time go by quicker, man.
Yeah, I wish. Just sitting there in front of the computer, pump it out.
I got something to say before we get off the air.
Okay.
Someone's goading me to goat someone else by saying Tim Thomas hates America. Enough said.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, I don't know him, but it seems kind of harsh. It's very sharp Mendenhall-ish.
He declined an official offer to go meet the president because he said he hated the way the government ran the country.
Wow. And, of course, it wouldn't be a FlanFan show with a little bit of political views, I suppose, right? You got to have a little bit in there. So, I mean, that's all the time we have for today. Flanny, thanks for letting me take the lead on this one, man. It felt really good to get back on the air doing the stats. Appreciate it. Jason, happy to work with you, man. It felt good. Good guy, man. First time I got to work with you. Although, Jason, I'm going to call you out. I don't know if you remember this. I'm not going to say the league, but I tried out for your Nashville team, and I believe you told me that I wasn't going to cut it.
Man.
That's what he said to me. He said that I wasn't good enough to cut it. Sorry, bud. So, Jason Blaze, when this series over, we'll see who's good enough to cut it.
Oh, man.
Dude, that was like, how many seasons ago?
It was a long time ago.
People remember these things.
That was the first time I ever ran a team, too. And
I played for a Jason Blaze before, too, man.
Yeah, when I was sitting there, he's like, "You're not good enough." I was like, "Oh, okay." A couple Rookie of the Years, couple All-Star votings later, maybe he'll think differently now. Maybe next time around, Jason Blaze. But I just had to call you out on that. I just remembered that too. So obviously you remember too. So job well done. So all right, boys, that's all the time we have for today. Another edition of the FlanFan Show, running the full hour, just like I like it. Old Dad sitting at his Chicago bungalow. Jim Flanagan, thank you, sir. Jason Blaze, caping it real over there. You guys have a good night, man.
Yep. Good night, everybody.